It's 2023 and the FBI has released their top 10 most wanted fugitives still at large at the time of this video. From cold-blooded killers, drug lords, fraudsters, sex traffickers, all the way down to stalkers, you name it, the FBI is still looking for these outlaws. So, how do you get on the FBI's top 10 most wanted list, you ask? Well, firstly, you've got to do some pretty messed up stuff, and once a criminal, authorities from each state will submit one person who is the most dangerous to society. The FBI picks it up, and amongst various departments, they decide what individuals everyone needs to have a spare pair of eyes out for. And bounty hunters all over the world lick their lips and rub their hands in the hopes to win rewards of up to $20 million. How bad must these criminals be for the FBI to charge up to $20 million for information? Well, stick around and let's get into the top 10 most wanted fugitives of 2023. Omar Alexander Cardenas finds himself at the top of our list for the murder of a man and unlawful flight to avoid prosecution. In the midst of summer 2019, Omar fired 6 shots in the direction of the hair icon barbershop in a shopping centre in Silmar. The result was death on arrival for an innocent man standing outside who was struck in the head numerous times. We don't even know how or if the suspect and the victim knew each other. All we do know is it all went down on August 15th of that year, and that was the last time that anyone had seen Omar Alexander Cardenas. That wasn't Omar's first rodeo, as he's confirmed to be a member of the Pierce Street Gang, as well as being associated to other criminal cliques in the surrounding area. Special Agent Michael Alcar of the FBI LA department says he's not only a risk to the public, but he may also have information related to other violent crimes. He's about 5'6", 250 pounds, has dark brown hair and a beard, and goes by the coolest and most unique street name ever, Dollar. So if you see him, holler the FBI, because they'll be rewarding up to $100,000 for information leading to his arrest. The FBI say he should be considered as armed and dangerous. Taking a darker turn, Alex Flores is wanted by the FBI for allegedly kidnapping and murdering 5-year-old girl named Ignitova de Jesus in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The girl was reported missing in late July of 2000 and was found a month later, strangled to death in a nearby apartment. For 23 long years, the explicit details of little Ignitova's murder has haunted the family and the detectives burdened with catching the killer. She disappeared on July 29, 2000, in the few minutes her mother left her unattended while she was playing outside in her Philadelphia house with her sister. Witnesses reported they had seen the little girl walking away with a Hispanic man. Tragically, she had been raped and strangled and left in a corner facing the wall. When she was found, her tiny body was partially covered by a green trash bag. The hunt for the monster responsible for Ignitova's murder started hopeful, as investigators quickly zeroed in on a quiet boxcar drifter who arrived in the town mysteriously and went only by the name Carlos. For years, the case stayed unsolved. No one knew who this Carlos was or where he could be found. In 2007, the DNA found at the crime scene sparked a match in the system. It belonged to none other than Alex Flores, who had been arrested before for shoplifting in 2002 and possessing a forgery device in 2005. Thankfully, his DNA was added to the database. The only problem was that after his arrest in 2005, Flores had been deported to his native Honduras, and to this day, authorities have been unable to find him. He is considered armed and extremely dangerous and a reward of $100,000 is available to any information leading to his arrest. Yulin Ardone Archega Carreras, our first drug smuggling, arms dealing, murderous gang member that's made the list today. Like our previous wanted man, Yulin is a Honduran man that is wanted for racketeering, cocaine importation, as well as possession and conspiracy to possess machine guns. Operating as the leader of the Marasauta Truta or the MS-13 gang, he has been controlling all of the criminal activity in his country of Honduras, as well as supplying resources for his fellow gang members in the areas of Central America and the US. He's also believed to be responsible for countless murders of rival gang members and civilians. The gang has a reputation of extreme violence and one of the most brutal street gangs across the world. In 2008, the FBI put the size of MS-13 between 6,000 and 10,000 members in the US, making it one of the largest criminal enterprises in the country, with a whopping annual revenue of roughly $31.2 million, mainly from drugs and extortion. The gang's motto is horrifying, and that is kill, rape, and control. And that is exactly what many high-profile cases linked to the gang involve them doing. In 2017, they were found responsible for countless acts of kidnap, rape, and murder from New York all the way down to Texas. Yulin sits right at the top of this depravity and is considered to be armed and extremely dangerous. Right, I don't even know how I'm gonna pronounce this one, but let's give it a try. Badresh Kumar Chetanbhai Patel is the 514th person to make the FBI's top 10 most wanted. Patel is wanted for murdering his young wife in 2015 at a donut shop in Boulevard in Hanover, Maryland, where they both worked the night shift. Investigators believe Patel killed Palak, who was 21 at the time, in a back room just before midnight on April the 12th. He allegedly stabbed his wife multiple times and fled. After killing his wife and leaving the donut shop, Patel walked across the street to the apartment he also shared with his wife, retrieved a few items and some cash, and then hailed a taxi. The taxi driver took him to a hotel in New Jersey near the airport. He checked in around 3 a.m. with no bags, just the clothes on his back. He then checked out around 10 a.m. and that was the last time anyone saw him. He married the poor woman in 2013 in what seemed to be an arranged marriage, and chillingly, prior to her murder, Palak had told her parents that she wanted to return to India after her relationship with her husband took a turn for the worst. It's been theorized that Patel was totally against the idea, and if he couldn't have his wife, no one could, so he done the unthinkable. The sheer violent nature of the crimes allegedly committed by Mr. Patel is what earned him a place on the FBI's top 10 list. He's also considered to be armed and extremely dangerous, and any information leading to his arrest would be rewarded with $100,000. The youngest fugitive on the list today is none other than 25-year-old Alexandro Rosales Castillo, and this young man was murdering people at the age of 17 when he probably should have been at high school. The North Carolina teen is wanted in connection with the 2016 murder of 23-year-old woman Truquan Lai Lee, also known as Sandy, which was a previous lover of Castillo. The two grew close while working together in a restaurant in Charlotte. Castillo owed the victim $1,000, and text messages between the pair showed that they agreed to meet in Charlotte on August 9th, 2016, so he could repay the loan. When Sandy arrived at the meeting place, Castillo apparently had no intention of returning the money. Instead, Castillo had the victim withdraw a large sum of money from an ATM. Castillo drove the woman to a remote, heavily wooded area outside of Charlotte, where he shot her in the head and dumped her body in the ravine. Then, Castillo and his new girlfriend fled the state in the victim's car. Like the other criminals, the FBI say he should be considered armed and extremely dangerous, and again, there is a reward for $100,000 for any information leading to his arrest. Right, this is when things get interesting. The first woman on the list is the notorious Ruja Ignitova, who is now going by the name the Missing Crypto Queen. She disappeared in 2017 without a trace, a year after operating the biggest scam in history of crypto in 2016. She disappeared with billions of dollars, not millions, billions of dollars in Bitcoin, the competitor currency she promised to kill. The victims, around 1 million people in 175 countries, collectively lost somewhere between 3 billion and 10 billion euros of their savings. On paper, she was legit. Before running one of the most notorious cryptocurrency scams, Ruja Ignitova had a brilliant resume, not forgetting a law degree from Oxford University. So, in summer 2016, when she walked on the stage at Wembley Arena to greet thousands of fans, they were sold on the Ponzi scheme, disguised as a cryptocurrency called OneCoin.
I've been called a lot of things, and probably the best thing that the press called me was OneCoin, who is supposed to be the Bitcoin killer. What we will do as a company, we will double the coins on your account. This will happen only once. In 2 years, nobody will speak about Bitcoin anymore.
The value of the coin supposedly grew from 50 cents to around 29.95 euros per coin. However, in actuality, OneCoin was not mined at all, and its value was entirely decided internally by Ignitova and her accomplices. It supposedly used a blockchain that is also used by other cryptocurrencies, which must have looked legit from the outside. As they were not secured by any technology, the OneCoin tokens were primarily worthless. This is because they could not actively be traded, could not be utilized to purchase anything, and investors also had no way of trailing their money. But by this point, Ignitova disappeared in October 2017, having quietly boarded a Ryanair flight from Sofia to Athens. When her brother was arrested in 2019, he told investigators that she took $500 million, which is about 460 million euros, of investors' money with her when she fled the country. Unlucky to investors, she hasn't been seen since, as she only took $500 million. Only $500 million. The location of the billions of dollars stolen from investors still remains a mystery. Look, we've all lost our fair share in crypto, but nowhere in the billions, so let's count ourselves lucky. Let me know in the comments down below, what was your biggest win and biggest loss in the crypto world? If you thought it couldn't get any more bizarre, the next man on the FBI's Most Wanted is Arnaldo Jimenez, a man who allegedly killed his wife on their wedding day. Within 24 hours of marrying Jimenez, 26-year-old Estrella Carrera was found stabbed to death in her Burbank condo in May 2012. Authorities believe Jimenez stabbed Carrera in his black Maserati and dragged her body to the bathtub in her condo. The couple was last seen together in the early morning hours of their wedding night. When Carrera failed to pick up her 2 young children the next afternoon as planned, her family asked the Burbank police to conduct a welfare check at her condo. It was there that officers found her lifeless body in the bathtub, still wearing the same silver sequined cocktail dress she wore celebrating with the family. Jimenez, the father of Carrera's youngest child, was nowhere to be found. There was no doubt Jimenez wasn't the killer, because he contacted his sister, telling her that he had a bad fight with Carrera and left her bleeding. He was also said to have another conversation with a close friend, stating that he was leaving Illinois. The Texas-born Jimenez reportedly said that if the police came looking for him, to tell the law enforcement that he was heading to Mexico. Police records placed Jimenez's cell phone in Hidalgo, Texas, near the Mexican border, at 10:45 p.m. on May 13, 2012. That's the last time police were able to track the phone. Over 10 years later, Jimenez is still at large and very much considered to be armed and dangerous. A reward for $100,000 is available to any information leading to his arrest. Now on to those who didn't manage to evade capture. First on that list is Jose Rodolfo Villarreal Hernandez, aka Elgato. And believe me, we'll be sticking with the nickname for this one. Elgato, who is a Mexican cartel leader, was wanted in the US for his alleged role in orchestrating the 2013 murder in South Lake, Texas. The target, Juan Jesus Guerrero Chapa, was a lawyer for the notoriously violent drug cartel and an informant for the US government. Investigators believe that Elgato had a personal grudge against Chapa. The victim was sitting alongside his wife in their brand new Range Rover when he was shot at least 5 times, marking South Lake's first murder in over 10 years. The investigation, led by the FBI Dallas Field Office, revealed the victim was stalked by a group of individuals in the beginning of March 2011. The investigation further determined that this same group allegedly committed the murder for hire on May 22, 2013. The direction came from none other than Elgato, who allegedly held an active leadership position in the Beltran-Leyva drug trafficking organization. So, he's the first man on our list to have been captured, which only occurred a few weeks ago on January the 8th, 2023. The now 43-year-old fugitive was arrested in Mexico City by officers from multiple Mexican agencies. He's now being held in Mexico pending extradition to the US. There's no shortage of unusual cases here, because next on the list is Michael James Pratt, who is the adult website owner responsible for sex trafficking, production of child pornography, sex trafficking of a minor, and conspiracy to launder monetary instruments in connection with his adult website he co-owned. The FBI said that Michael Pratt, the co-owner of many adult websites, took part in an operation from 2012 to 2019 to recruit young adult women and minors to engage in commercial sex acts by force, fraud, and coercion. He and his associates recruited women from around the US and Canada by posting false internet ads for fully clothed modeling jobs, which the victims later found were pornographic productions. It's also been said that the women were not allowed to leave the shooting locations until the videos were completed. Some were allegedly forced to perform sex acts, and others were allegedly sexually assaulted. For the trauma imposed on these young women, Michael Pratt generated more than $17 million in revenue. Thankfully, on December 23rd, 2022, the Spanish National Police tweeted a video of an arrest and said that they captured a New Zealand fugitive on the FBI's Most Wanted list, and Michael Pratt is the only person from New Zealand on the list. Michael was swiftly brought to justice and has been sentenced to life in prison in the US for sexual exploitation and sexual assault and producing child sexual abuse images. Hopefully, they lock him up and throw away the key. You can say that we left the best till last, because the last man on this list has been at large for 35 years, had a bounty reward for over $20 million, and had the biggest tally of convictions, and is also the man who walked straight out of prison. And he is none other than Raphael Caro Quintero, a drug lord known as Narco of the Narcos, was wanted for his involvement in the kidnapping, torture and murder of DEA Special Agent Enrique Kiki Camarena after he was blamed for a raid on Raphael's marijuana plantation a year prior. Raphael was considered to have run one of the most powerful drug trafficking units, the Guadalajara cartel in Mexico in the 80s. He also held an active key leadership position in directing the activities for the gang. Raphael was arrested after a search dog named Max found him hiding in scrubland in the town of San Simon in Sinaloa State during a joint operation by the Navy and the Attorney General's office. Unfortunately, the manhunt turned deadly when a Navy Black Hawk helicopter carrying 15 people crashed in the near coastal city of Los Mochis, at the same time killing 14 of those aboard. There was an investigation underway, but there was no indication that the crash was related to Raphael's arrest, turning out to be a tragic coincidence. He is now currently waiting extradition to the US. So, in conclusion, a lot of dangerous lunatics are still walking free today, and some have been caught and locked away for eternity. A reminder that if you ever do find yourself in the unusual circumstance of bumping into one, contact the FBI immediately, because each and every one of them is a danger to you and society. And if you're still here, then you probably liked the video, so thank you for watching it. All I ask from you is to subscribe to the channel, and I will promise to give you something new every single week. So, until then.